All right, we are seeing here Senator Alex Padilla is about to hold a news conference. You may have seen that he was forced out of a news conference today with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Let's listen in.
Let me read my statements. I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues, have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room.
To the rioters.
I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable. And we'll have more to say. We'll have more to say in the coming days. Let me say just briefly in Spanish as well. Soy el Senador Alex Padilla. Y estuve aquí porque tuve una
You've been listening to Senator Alex Padilla discussing what happened today during that news conference with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. He said that he was in the building waiting for a scheduled briefing, and while he was waiting, he heard that the secretary was there holding a news conference, that his office had been requesting information and had not heard back from the department. So he went in. He said that he showed up peacefully and he had a question. And when he asked that question, he was forced to the ground and handcuffed. He said that he was not arrested, but he did also emphasize the fact of how he, a senator, was treated and how this office would treat workers in the streets of LA. And he says that the office will be held accountable. So he is continuing to hold this news conference here, speaking in Spanish. We're waiting to see if he's going to answer questions again in English. We're standing by to hear that. Okay, he is continuing to speak in Spanish again, explaining what happened to him this morning, just a short time ago, when he asked a question of Secretary Noem about the ICE raids that have been happening in LA. He says he was there peacefully and just had a question. All right. I'm hearing that we are waiting to see if he's going to start taking some questions. Again, he said, forced to the ground and he was handcuffed, but he was not arrested. As you can see here, he is free and able to leave. It was a temporary situation. As you can see here on the right side of your screen, that is when they were pushing him out of that news briefing. And outside of that door, he says that he was thrown to the ground and handcuffed. So we are just waiting to see if he will, in fact, take questions. We have not heard yet if he will be taking questions, but we want to stand by in case he does. Again, this is Senator Alex Padilla answering questions to being forcibly removed from a news briefing being held by Secretary Noem. Here he goes.
Just want to once again, for not just the community here in Los Angeles, but throughout the country, because there is a lot of concern, there is a lot of tension, there is a lot of anxiety, and a lot of people are beginning to make plans for what they may or may not do come this Saturday. I encourage everybody to please peacefully protest, just like I was calmly and peacefully listening in that press conference and attempting to ask a question. No violence, no vandalism. Please continue peacefully protesting, and that's all I will have to say today. Thank you very much.
Can you give us any insight what you and the secretary said afterwards?
Okay, so there you have it. Senator Alex Padilla finishing up there, saying that there's certainly a lot of concern, and he is encouraging everyone to protest peacefully on Saturday without violence. As he was walking away, a reporter shouted out the question, asking him about a meeting with Secretary Noem after that news briefing, but he walked away and did not answer that question. You can see there are a number of reporters and photographers following the senator there. And of course, we have a crew there and will certainly bring you any updates if he does in fact talk about a meeting with Secretary Noem after their meeting, after he was in fact forcibly removed from that briefing, when he says he was there peacefully just asking a question. We do know that he said that he was thrown to the ground after he was pushed out of that doorway, thrown to the ground and handcuffed, but he was not arrested. Of course, we'll continue to follow this for you.